Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF and on today's episode we're doing another Whisky In, Whisky Out, your favourite and mine, this time for the month of June 2024. Got a fairly big month this month, to be honest, I was quite lucky with some deliveries that came through and a couple that I picked up. But the best thing to do is get straight into it. As you guys always know, I'll do the chapters below so you can skip ahead or whatever. And of course, please do check out the description for the links to all of the reviews to these. Some of them will be coming up sooner rather than later, but definitely the bottle kills have already had reviews, so you can go and check out the actual full review of them. I'll do a little overview today. But yeah, let's get straight into it and see what we've actually got this month. So, first up then, this is actually brand new. If you're watching this on day of release, this came out yesterday. So this is the Kingsbarns Coaltown, exclusively matured in ex-peated casks, and pretty cheap, 46 quid. But I'm going to be reviewing this really quick. Like, they sent me this last week, so I got a bit of advance on it. So yeah, I'll be getting this review out pretty quick. So I'm sure you'll be interested in seeing that pretty soon. But for what it is, I think it's pretty good value, to be honest. We've got this month's Somerton Club is a Lochlea Car Strength Batch 1. Haven't really had a chance to get into this yet, but as you know, if you're not aware somehow of Somerton Club in the UK, 50 quid every 2 months, and they never fail to surprise me when I open this. And this here is a 60% bad boy. Not sure about the age, obviously fairly young. It's Lochlea, so not too worried about that. But yeah, it's already it's favourable. That's all I can say about that. But I haven't really had a chance to delve into it too much. They've done good this month. Next up, then we've got a Tomintoul Peated. This is a bit of an interesting one because traditionally it's called peaty tang. So I guess they've changed it. I don't really know much about that. But obviously Tomintoul is traditionally the gentle dram unpeated. So for them to have a bit of a peated tang, as it used to be called, and now just peated, is an interesting one. Fairly cheap, I think, as well. But obviously this isn't a review of that, so I'll get into that when I get some chance. This will probably be next week, I think, probably. Okay. This one's a bit of an interesting one. So here, I mean, you can see this is already half finished. Technically, this is Whisky In. Now, this here is the Imperial Tribute. That's got a... Hopefully that's ASMR for you, but that's got a bit of an annoying cap, but never mind. I'll hold that. The Imperial Tribute is from Spencer Collings. Now, this one here is an interesting one. Obviously, I've worked with Spencer Collings a fair bit. There's quite a lot floating around in there, which is interesting. I know that's... I don't really vibe off that, I have to admit. I might have to filter that out, but I know some people here love that sort of thing. But anyway, this is, if you've watched my channel for any length, you'll know I'm a big fan of Spencer Collings, and I'm a big fan of Mike Collings, who runs this. He's got a huge history in the Scots industry, and his team, I would say, arguably, working for Diageo in the 80s, are responsible for our enjoyment of single malts as they are today. So basically, he's built this as it's pretty much a blue label, a Johnny Walker blue label, but like everything that it should be is what I will say about that. So yeah, I'll be digging into that at some point in the future. But yeah, the reason why it's half empty is because I can't go into too many details about how it got to the guy who gave it to me. But essentially, they gave it to a friend of mine. Is the way to say it. They gave it to a friend of mine who works in the industry, and he was always destined to end up with me, and he always wanted to pop it and share it with me, and he did. So I saw my friend recently, and he let me have the other half of this bottle. So I'm very grateful for that because it's a pretty stunning whiskey. Okay, this one should be a trio. So I'll get these up here and show them to you one by one. These are the new boutique. So they've got the core range, right? They've got the core range, which I covered fairly recently, as well as doing a couple of them. Now they've got like a limited release of the core range, so that it's like the core range but with a weird inflection to it, sort of. So here we've got the 35-year-old grain, which is running for about 85 quid. We've got a this is like this is a Balblair single cask, and this is a first fill bourbon. And here we've got a Canadian corn, which I was a big fan of the kind of original version of this. And this is PX and ex-peated octaves, distilled at an unknown distillery. They've even gone to the pains of like hatching out where this has come from. I don't know why, they could have just left that blank, but yeah. So I'm going to be covering those fairly soon. Actually, there's 5 of them. There's a Kalila and a Mortlach as well, I think. So I'm going to try and get the Kalila as well, because I know a friend of mine's got that, and cover all 4 in one video. I don't think I'm going to get the Mortlach as well, but you know that to get all 3 of these from Boutique is enough, I think. So yeah. Finally, then I've got this little special beauty here. This is the Cotswolds. They're calling it the 10th birthday party limited release. Now, last weekend they had their 10th birthday party. I was invited down to that, which was pretty cool. They didn't really make much advertising about special bottling that was going to be going on there. And as I was looking around the shop, I just noticed this. It's pretty much their standard release, their standard signature range. So the contents are no different, and the price was no different as well. It was 45 quid. But it's got that special labelling on it, that 10th birthday bottling, one of 200 bottles. So I got suckered into that. So I'm gonna sort of keep that. To be honest with you, I don't normally say this, but I'm probably not going to open that because it's the same as the signature. I haven't covered the signature for years, to be honest, but I could just get that again. But because it's one of 200 on a special label, I don't know. I might keep that for a bit. Let me know what you think about that. At the moment, I've got something like 5 bottles sealed across my whole 100 odd bottles. You can go and check out on Whiskey Base. There's a link in the description below if you want to go and check out my collection. You can see what's closed and what's not, and there aren't many that are closed. But the ones that I do have closed, I do have a good reason for it. So that might be one of them. Okay, quite a lot of bottles in. The balances of the scales have tipped definitely one way because it's pretty much 4. 4 is what I tend to do. And this month was particularly light, and you'll see why. But let's get into the Whisky Out. So the first one then, and this is the reason why it would have only been 2 bottles, but 2 of them, 3 of them in fact, are because of the blind tasting that I did a couple of months ago. Stuff like this. I bought this for the blind tasting. This is the Glencadam Reserva Andalusia Oloroso Sherry Cask finish. When I was finished with the blind, I only had this much odd left in the bottle. Same for all of the other 3 that I've got here. So they got killed fairly quickly. So obviously it can look like I've drunk like 3 bottles in a month, but that's not always the case. It does happen sometimes, but it's not always the case. In this case, it's been a very light month for me. I went away and took some 4 bottles with me, so they'll be getting close to the kill queue. Anyway, this Andalusia was, out of this range of cask finishes, this was my second favourite, behind the PX, which is the Reserva PX, which is just behind me there. I enjoyed, which is really crazy, right? Because you know me, I don't really vibe off Oloroso or PX, but these are really great whiskies. Definitely worth checking out for sure. Next up then, we've got the Black Bottle 10-year-old. Again, another one from the blind tasting, which, not that you'd be able to tell, but it was down right at the bottom. You can just about see through these ones, so I do give them a pass. If you've got a bright light like I have, you can just about see what's going on there. And again, like I said in the review for this, you kind of got to forgive them for it because it's called Black Bottle, but I really don't like these kind of translucent at best bottles. Anyway, this was 27 quid, which is getting up there for what you're getting, but the Black Bottle range, when you get beyond the basic one is fine, but I would avoid the basic one if I were you. When you get to the 10-year-old and you get to the Alchemy series, they're all just, what's the fairest thing to say? The fairest thing to say is, if you tried them at the end of a tasting, they would all taste like kind of watery pish, I imagine. But as an opener dram, as a guard whiskey, as a palate cleanser, as a one of those whiskies that you use to kind of wake your palate up for a tasting, absolutely perfect. And all of them are relatively cheap. They're in that kind of 23 to 27 pound vibe. Don't overlook Black Bottle. I know some people online have been saying when I've covered these that they didn't like it. That's fair. There's always going to be, for every bottle out there, there's going to be somebody who doesn't like it. For me, for example, I really don't vibe Macallan, and that's a huge one that everybody seems to go nuts about. But every single Macallan that I've had has been extremely lackluster to me, and it gets worse the more expensive they are. But yeah, that's just me. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that not everybody's going to vibe this, but I think at one point in your whiskey career, it's worth getting a bottle of the special release Black Bottles, just to give it a go and see what you think. Okay, let's keep going. We've got an Indiana 3-year-old from Master of Malt. This was another one from the blind tasting. Absolutely brilliant. There's no way of saying it. This is a 3-year-old, probably MGP distilled bourbon, a wheated bourbon no less. It was massively overlooked for a long time. Even after I did my videos of it, people still didn't buy it. I'm not sure if it's still available now, but if it is, I implore you to go and check it out. It's like 30 odd quid, and even if you don't like bourbon, for that sort of money, it's great just to have around in case somebody comes over and does like bourbon and you want to have something reasonably good to give them. I think this was an absolute belter for the price. So yeah, if you're even remotely interested in bourbon, go and get this because it's just good. I really enjoyed that. I miss it. Finally then, we've got an actual bottle kill that I killed myself, pretty much. This is That Boutique Whiskey Company Deep Breath World of Smoke, distilled at the English distillery, aged 10 years, batch 5, blah, blah, blah. Sent over to me for the World of Smoke series. I had like a bunch of samples as well, which I actually didn't end up covering. But that was pretty good, that. Kind of no point me saying much more about it. Go and check out my review if you're interested in it, because it's gone. You can't get it anyway. But Boutique Whiskey Company, always good choices, I think. Always good choices. Trouble with it is obviously they're half litres and they usually run a higher price than not. Some of them are great value, but some of them are higher price than not. So it's not a range for everybody. That's the truth of it. But that's where I think stuff like, this comes in. Same people ultimately that are deciding what goes in them, but these are full-size bottles, usually a little bit cheaper than their contemporaries versus these, which tend to run a bit higher. So yeah, there's something for everyone over at Master of Malt, of course. That's it. That's my month. It's been a pretty big month, to be fair. So long may that continue, because as we head into the summer lull, I'll thank you for watching right now, because this is always a tough couple of months for whiskey tubers. The casual whiskey fans tend to dip off and not watch anymore. So yeah, I thank you, the hardcore viewers, for sticking around and keeping this whole thing ticking over. Let me know if you've enjoyed this episode, and as always, let me know what your ins and outs were this month, because I love seeing all that, because it's my collection is so different to yours and everyone else's. So share out what you've killed this month. Share out what you bought, because we all like to see that sort of stuff. In any case, I'll see you again on more videos coming soon. I haven't got a drink, so I can't say cheers properly, but there'll be reviews coming soon in the next week or so. Nice one.